Well, a lot going on this weekend. I'm actually leaving tomorrow morning to make Miami Valley in time Sunday morning, so I can race Sunday night. Sunday night, I'm going to race Coupe de Ville and Smoking Hot Irish Girl, and then I'm going to head to Kentucky. I'm going to qualify Tailgate Buzz. I believe qualifiers are Monday. I'm going to qualify Tailgate Buzz. I am going to race Per Lucky from the rail and Landing Strip, and then I'm going to come back by. I have to go by Miami Valley, well, theoretically anyway. Go back by Miami Valley the next day, drive What a Mission, and then go up to Northfield. I'm going to race the horses in the afternoon, and then I'm going to go home. I mean, Luke Ebersol's already won with Stonebridge Acadi. He's on his game, so there shouldn't be any problems there. And actually, Luke is a really good fit for Dustin Hanover. Just be super conservative with him. Just don't expose him. And that's what you have to do. Pretty simple. With Dustin Hanover for the foreseeable future, just don't expose him. Second over, third over, two-hole trip. Don't put him on the front. Don't be first over. It's not really a secret how you have to drive Dustin Hanover for now, and that's just a request because I don't want to see the horse get chewed up, right? And I might be wrong. He might end up being just a condition claimer his whole life. I have no idea. But I still believe that there's a horse in there that wants to be a good horse. And I think especially coming in with a break in between his last two starts, coming in on 7 days' notice, he should be pretty sharp on Wednesday evening for Luke. Gives me some time. I'm going to get really busy here real soon. And by busy, I mean I'm going to be gone a lot more. So until the kids are out of school, Amy's going to be here. The kids are going to be here. We have the open houses coming up. We have the open houses coming up in the next couple of weeks in Ohio. And then at the end of the month now, for the open house, as I said, as it always is, the open house is going to be picked up and paid for, so it's going to be free of charge. I want to see everybody that can get out. And listen, I understand the cost of gas, the cost of living, and just being who you are, no matter where you are, is a little more expensive than it used to be. So we've done our best to pick up the tab on the open house and make sure that everybody can come out. So the hotel I was trying to think of the other day, thank you, Curtis, for the email, the Drury Inn and Suites, and it is just down the street. In fact, it's right across the road from one of my favorite steakhouses. Well, actually, no. It's across the road from Firebirds. It's behind BJ's Brewhouse, another good place to eat. The Chop place, I've never actually eaten there. It's not the Chop, it's like a steak and winery place. I've never actually eaten there. And then just across the road, about 3 minutes away, is Hyde Park, which is really good. So lots of places to eat around there, lots of shopping. Just down the street from that particular hotel is a giant mall, big shopping plaza, and across the street, just down the road, maybe 2 city blocks from that giant mall, is another big kind of shopping area. So lots to do in that area. If you want to come out, if you haven't, if you're in Ontario and haven't been across the border, haven't been to Northfield Park, haven't been to that area, it is nice down there also. And especially where Curtis is saying down by the Drury Inn and Suites, it is very, very nice down there. That's actually in the little town city of Orange, and very nice. So it should be a lot of fun for the open houses. The horses in Ohio have been ultra impressive. The horses were good here this week too. I was very happy with what I've seen in total. I don't think I remember in recent memory. Now again, you have to take it with a grain of salt because this is right in front of us now, and it's hard to think back a year and say, well, how was everybody then? When I think back anyway, and if my memory serves me, there was always quite a pecking order from 1 to whatever. And it was pretty well set in stone, right? You might have a cluster of 15 that are very similar, 15, 15, 15. But for the most part, they were starting to segregate. They were starting to separate and become individual groups. Whereas sure, we have some of the cream of the crop, but I said to myself today, I'm going to mark the horses, the yearlings, as I always do, and I wanted to make a top 10. Now, these are projections. It has to be on talent, depth, speed, stamina. Staking should play a role also, where they're going to race this summer and how tough is it supposed to be, what are they going to be able to do. All of that is going to factor into my top 10 list this week, and it's going to be based on all of those parameters. And I said, that should make it easier, right? Because even though I like Sunset Acres Girl, I can't possibly put her on that overall list, although where you're going to race and how good you have to be does factor in her. But again, speed, stamina, all these things It's hard to put a horse like her on the list. It's hard to put a number of other horses, but I thought that the list should be whittled down. I said if I can get it to below 20, I should be able to get it to 10. And I started at 24, and I was super picky getting to 24, and it was really, really hard. And a couple of horses I have a ton of respect for that did not end up making the top 10. This was by far the hardest top 10 list I've ever made, was the one today, and all 24 horses that I initially started with could easily make anybody's top 10 list. They've been very, very, very good, but I had to make it. I want to talk today a little bit about the brood mares, who they're in foal. We only have one confirmed mare in foal, but that's okay. We have like 2 or 3 or 4 vet checks this week, or pregnancy checks this week. Hopefully out of those, we'll get some more. We'll talk about them in a second. We had some horses move around this week. You know that JK Victory has gone to Ron Burke. I had a great conversation, back and forth conversation with Ron Burke, our vet, Jason, interpreting the whole thing, and then we were all talking about what we're going to do. Obviously, you know, for a guy like Ron Burke. Now, I can tell you every piece of equipment our horse wears, and our horses wear. I'm sure Jason can too, Harry can too. It's just the way we're geared. You remember that attention to detail is the difference in most times. I can remember what horses from previous years wore, but thinking that Ron Burke would remember a horse that he trained for somebody that he sold last year, it's not outside the realm of possibility. But he knew exactly what the issues were with JK Victory. He knew what his shoes he wore. He knew everything about him. The vet had called me. I said, hey, JK Victory is currently sitting at Northfield Park, about to leave this evening to join Ron Burke's stable, where he'll ship to the Indiana faction of Ron Burke's stable. And the vet was in the barn, and actually our vet knows Ron Burke well. And I'd said, hey, have Dr. Mike, Dr. Latessa, do you want to talk to Ron? He said, so Jason, I called Ron Burke. He said, yeah, have Mike look at the horse, have him call me. So I said, yes, go ahead and call Ron. So Ronnie knew everything about the horse, everything about him already. Some other interesting spots that were bugging him a little bit here right now, but I just found it surprising, and I put him on the spot. It wasn't like, he had a chance to go back and look at his notes. I said, hey, Dr. Latessa is at the barn right now. I know you know Mike really well. Do you want him to go over this horse and whatever work he wants done? Do you want it done, or do you want to have whatever vet you have in Indiana or Pennsylvania? He said, no. Get Mike to look at the horse, have him call me. And then Jason messaged me like 5 minutes max later to tell me everything they had worked on and what they were going to do. So I just found it very interesting. Not super surprising, given his stature, but a little interesting that he knew everything right away. I want to talk about all the qualifiers. I want to talk about where we sit with the 3-year-olds. I wrote down quickly when the first stake races for some of the horses were going to be, where I thought they should go, where they might land, so on and so forth. Now, please give me a little room. There's a lot to talk about this week, and if I happen to miss your horse in the opening, like I have Buzz and Austral on here and Nothing But a Dreamer, but if I happen to miss somebody, don't think that I think very little of them. I think every horse that we've qualified thus far has a spot, and you have seen, if they're not going to fit right now, we've been moving them on at will. We sold Columbus the other day, and it was only 2 weeks, so I said, geez, this horse's qualifier was good, his first win was good, he might be okay, this guy. And they just didn't race well for a couple of starts, a little flat, and got the break the other day. I think he just got jostled behind the gate. There's a lot of noise going on behind the gate, and I think he just exploded, but enough was enough. I said, he's going to be a fair horse. I don't even know if he can do in the Buckeye, so we ended up moving him, and we're going to continue to do that if we have to. So all the horses we qualified the other day, all the horses we're racing right now, we're evaluating and reevaluating as we go on, and hopefully by the time the babies start qualifying, we'll have a real solid core, a real solid stable heading into the summer of 2023. So, about the qualifiers and maybe some races last week, I got thinking about it. We've been pretty fortunate. Per Lucky got parked, but it had won in Northfield the week before. Swinging Senorita won a leg of the Hackett, then was third, beaten fair and square, but on that right line, I told you guys that Jason and Dr. Latessa will get to the bottom of it, and found a little pulse in her right front foot, probably why she was on that right line a little more. We changed her shoes around a little bit. I don't think there was any work needed today, but Dr. Latessa was going to go over her, and a week from today, she races in the first sire stake in Ohio. Now, make no mistake, she's almost as good as some of them. She's on the periphery of that top group. She's probably in the top 5. And if she draws good, they draw bad, we get to put them in a bad spot. The thing I can tell you about Swinging Senorita is she's, as a lot of our horses are this time of year, very tactical. Whether it's 2 or 3 years old, you can move her how you want, and sometimes you don't have to be the fastest horse if you just get the best trip. So Swinging Senorita was great. Fair and Square beaten third in the final, but I think you're going to see she's a little bit better the next time we race her. Took a Dive Off Dipper was a winner in the Oak Grove Open in 52-4. He looked very good. Yo Mister won the final of the Doc Farwick, and then just kind of get jammed up a little bit the other day. Never got clear, but he clearly has a ton of talent. Sintra was a qualifier the other day. He's ready to go now. I qualified him in 53-2, 26 and a piece on the end. He was very good. Locatelli won the final of the New Holland Series. Little flat as next to. He took his blood. Lo and behold, his GGT was a little high. Harry gave him the week off. Has been working him. He's back in to go on Monday. We gave the week off to Haunted House. Also had the week off. Who was the other horse? I'm missing the other Saturday horse. Haunted House. Victory. Can't think of it. And then obviously Patrick Leprano was incredible. 50 flat and looked very, very good the other day. Man, he is a nice horse. And as much as he's a nice horse, that only makes us wonder, what's Kings County going to be like when he comes back? He said time off. He's been breeding mares. He's feeling good. Stacy said she thought he'd be ready for the second or third week of Scioto. So he's getting close. And when talking about Kings County, obviously, I want to talk about, he does have his first mare in full. It was a problem. It got to the point where, and I'll bounce back to the other horses that raced last week because they are worth mentioning. They had a good week. You know what? I'll run through them real quick. Keep Kings County in your mind. What a Mission was good. He drew the 5-hole. Great spot for him at Scioto, so he should be good. Not Scioto, I apologize. Miami Valley. Tactical Mounts has now joined Megan Scran in New York to race in New Jersey. Was it the half? Was it that she was dawdling? Was it this? Was it that? All I can tell you is she's charted her last 3 quarters in 124-3, and that's with me not even asking her. So I said to Scott, I said to Megan, both before and after the filly landed, she will trot in 53 at the Meadowlands almost immediately if you need her to, which we shouldn't need her to in the non-winners at 2. So really excited to see the 2023 campaign of Tactical Mounts. Mo Power Baby raced good again, fair and square beaten, but doing her work well. She has now joined Ross Leonard in Indiana. Excited to see her race. She was good the other night. Stonebridge Ducati and Dustin Hanover continue to race good. Both finished second the other night. Both raced very, very good. But obviously, we talk about 4 or 5 powerhouses that are qualified or qualifying. Brace for Landing. I don't think I could think any higher, any more highly of a horse than him right now. I cannot wait to see him race. Crantini was amazing at the qualifier. Somebody said, well, yeah, but he was on the front. We were only up there 29 seconds. Remember, I told you the week before we were getting there in 29 or 30, and I was trying to back him into the 3-hole. He got a little angry and made a break. I wasn't going to do that again. First and foremost, get the horse qualified. Floated over the front. If you watch the qualifier, he was literally 2 fingers the whole way, and I had to pick at him a little bit down the lane to get him moving. But that 27-2 was all on his own with no one around. Earplugs in. Ear hood on, snake cord on. The horse is going to have if that's what he's going to offer us this year, we are going to have a very, very fun time with Crantini for the rest of the season. Spitfire Overseas is ready to qualify now. Schooler in 57. As I thought, a little bug going through the barn. Remember, Hornplayer and him were neighbors. She was very flat, and then I did school her actually in 57 Northfield the other day to ensure that she stayed tight. She was good. Made a little shoeing change, and the vet go over, do a little vet work on her also before she heads to Kentucky. But her and Spitfire were literal neighbors, and both of them just seemed a little under the weather. Spitfire was much, much better the other day. He'll qualify on Friday. Does he need 2 qualifiers or 1? That'll be up to Spitfire, Dominic, and James, but he was good the other day, and Nothing But a Dreamer. And James's horse, worth noting too, Hasty Bid was fantastic. So you had Nothing But a Dreamer. Excuse me. He has the SBOA coming up. I wrote it down. Didn't want to screw it up. SBOA on May the 12th. So the 1st is Monday, the 4th is Friday. I suspect, if I was going to guess, Harry and James already have it planned that they're going to requalify him on Friday, if I was to guess. So we have Brace for Landing, Crantini, Spitfire Overseas, Dreamer, and James' horse, obviously. Ready to rock right now. Austral Hanover was good on the weekend. Somebody said, I thought he was a little flat. Just cool your jets. He still is a Stallion Series colt. He just tried him 56 flat in the mud. And I don't feel he's given us his best yet. He's not holding back. He's just rounding into shape. We'll use the next 3 weeks to really work on him. I think he's in the right place with Tim and Mike. both are a good fit for this guy. I can't wait to see him hit his high gear, but he's not there yet. Tailgate Buzz, a number of people asking why he wasn't in. It's a fair question, because in Ontario and Pennsylvania, you don't have to qualify off a break, but in Kentucky you do. And since Kentucky may as well be Gilligan's Island right now, because Oak Grove is so far from anything, we have to wait our turn. So we had to qualify. I'll qualify him on Monday, get him going. He'll race through the last week of May and then head back to the Meadows to join Tim Twaddle's barn and race in the Stallion Series on June the 3rd. Hold on. June the 3rd at the Meadows. So, as I said, talked about Kings County. I may as well segue into the mares a little bit. So, My Jazz is confirmed in full to Kings County now. I am guarded because last year she did absorb the foal. So, I guess what that means is there is a fetus in there, but it went away. I don't really know the technical ins and outs, and you don't have to email me. But My Jazz, right now, Kings County has impregnated one mare. So, that's good. Globetrotting, he bred her twice, didn't get her in full, so we bred her to Green Shoe. I used the Green Shoe breeding for Globetrotting. Compass Rose DC will be bred to Kings County this week. Path of Totality. Now, I did secure 2 tactical landing breedings. I know Gary would like that to be international money, but there wasn't any. The only international money I could finagle right now, there might be one shake loose in a week or two, but the only one I had for right now we've used on Aglariam. So Globetrotting is Green Shoe, Path of Totality, Tactical Landing, and I secured one more Tactical Landing breeding yesterday for State Park S, who's on her full heat and ready to get bred right now. So Capistrano is rebred, had a beautiful foal, and is rebred to Lather Up. Aglariam, as I just mentioned, is bred to International Money. Now we still have 2 mares to foal out, and they are Eyes Attend, International Money, and Muscle Chrome to Long Tom, and I don't really know who to breed them back to. I suspect Muscle Chrome will go to Kings County, but you can't breed Eyes Attend to Kings County because Eyes Attend is a Muscle Hill, and so is Kings County. So who do we bring? I don't really know where to get. I don't have a breeding yet, and if one comes up for International Money in the next week, 2, she's not ready to foal until the end of May, last week of May. So if we can get her foaled and then on her full heat breed her to a horse, I think by then there might be International Money breeding shake loose. Any of the top sires we would breed her to, whether it be Ohio, Pennsylvania, even in Ontario if we wanted to, but again can't go to could go to King of the North, but there's no King of the North breedings around. I can guarantee you that. We can't go to the other colt, the other horse, because he's a Muscle Hill. And before you start sending me a pile of emails, well, feel free, I guess. My door is open. I would like to have a great dialogue about Eyes Attend. She's a What the Hill who's by Muscle Hill, and although she didn't pan out on the track, she is Lawmaker's sister, and I would breed her to a good stallion if one came my way. Now I know in Ohio there's Coach Carter or Coach whatever his name is, and there's a bunch of other sires floating around. So as of right now, everything is on the table for Eyes Attend. If there is another International Money breeding pop up, I'll likely lean that way. But until then, everything is on the table with her. So excited. We do have one mare in full right now. We have another mare, 2 mares getting checked this week in Capistrano and Aglariam. We have 3 more mares, and Globetrotting. So 3 mares, Aglariam, Globetrotting, and Capistrano getting checked this week to see if they're in full. We have Compass Rose DC and Path of Totality and State Park S to breed. 3 more mares to breed. Hopefully get them in full, and then the 2 mares to fold out, which are Muscle Chrome and Eyes 10. So that's where we're at in the brood mare status, where we're how the mares are shaking down. Obviously, we had some, before I get into the stake races this week, I talked about the horses that raced well this week. We had some horses move around. JK Victory joined Ron Berg's barn. He's going to be heading to Indiana. Mopar Baby went to Indiana with Ross Leonard. Ross, a great guy. Love doing business with him. Tactical Mounds went to Megan Scran this week to join Cutie Cumber and a bunch of other horses that she has or will have for us. Horn Player is going to now. A lot of people asking, who is Eric Padalin? You guys may have noticed throughout the winter on the babies training down, you'll see Eric Padalin. Eric is a good old horseman. Him and Kathy work hard. A good horseman from Michigan, and I'd asked him if he would go to Kentucky. They have on site right now 6, I believe, Horn Players on the way. And eventually the plan is to send Stay Special down there. That is the Stay Hungry filly that we bought the other day. I had a number of people say, Anthony, on the write-up it said she was sore on her knees. I spoke to Miss Chiodo after, and x-rays were negative. We did x-ray the filly as soon as she got back to Northfield Park. Her knees are rough. Her third carpals are rough, same as a lot of horses, same as Unbeatable Kemp's or a number of other horses. But hopefully hers are manageable. If they aren't, they aren't. Then we'll have to rest her. But if they are manageable, I think she can move forward in a big way. Seems like she's got some pop and some speed. And obviously Stacy does a great job with her horses. Her horse looked great. Stay Special looked great when she got off the truck. Looked in good working order, and it's nice when you get a horse from a solid barn that does a great job, because all the little things that you think you might have to do, you really don't. So now it's just sound her up real good, get her in form where she can race. Jason jogged her the last 2 days and said she jogged fine. The vet did x-rays, said her knees were rough, but he has a plan to work on those also. I think he's going to put Pro Stride in her knees this week. We changed her shoes up front. So all of this is all hopeful, right? These are things we've done to sound up horses that we've had issues with their knees before, but until we see her go well on the track, it's all just conjecture. It's all just, geez, I hope and wish. All I can say is that exactly what Stacy had said she looked like, she looks like, right? Her knees, her body, everything. And hopefully we can mitigate that, manage it, and work her through. Her plan, our plan, is to potentially race her once at Northfield Park and send her to Kentucky. Otherwise, she can go right to Kentucky. That is the extent of the horses right now. We are looking at a couple of horses to purchase this week. We're still looking to replace some of the other horses that we had moved out. I would like to find a number 1, 2, or 3 pacing colt for Kentucky. I had a couple people shy away from a horse we were looking at this week at the Meadows. Just like to see a little bit more. I'd like to know that when we buy the horse, we could drop the horse in the box in Kentucky and be 8-5 in week 1 on the track. That's what I'd like to see. So that's what we're on the lookout for. Horses that can make an absolute immediate impact as soon as we put them in the box. So that's what we're after here this week. And now I want to talk about some of the staking coming up. Somebody asked me my comment about Absolute Euphoria, how she's on a holding pattern. They asked why. Because she's not safe right now. She's not sore, she's not lame, but something's going on. Usually when I can't put my finger on it, but if you watch the qualifier, and if you didn't, go back and watch it, very fast filly. Somebody said, well, like 4 or 5 of them won't buy her. I let them go by me. I had a death grip on her going under the wire. 56-1, 28-3, and I couldn't give her a head the whole way down the lane. No acute lameness was seen by me. I can't see any problem mechanically why this filly is acting this way, and that is usually almost every time because it's 2 or more places bothering her. Usually a component of that is their feet. So Monday we're going to take a very, very close look at her feet. Do we got to change her shoes? If so, what are we going to put on her? We'll see how that plays out. We know her knees are a problem, but I didn't see any stiffness or soreness from her knees. So again, the vet will go all over her on Monday. We just had her hind ankles injected. It helped. She went from making that break in the first turn last week to not making any breaks. Now, when I let her pace hard after the wire, she did make one going into the turn. But again, why? I see that as a 2 or 3 issues that are bothering her, and I can't put my finger on them. More times than not, the feet is the catalyst. They didn't seem warm. They didn't seem sore, but I'm going to have the vet go all over a very, very close look at this filly. There is at least 2, if not 3 things bothering her a little bit. Let's see if we can start ironing out the wrinkles of Absolute Euphoria. When we get them out, she'll be fine, but they're not out yet. Swinging Senorita races next Saturday. As I said in the final, she just got on that right line a little bit, and it really, that last turn fighting with her on the pole really cost her some pop on the end of the mile. I don't think it cost her second, but she wasn't as good as she could have been, hopefully. We found a little pulse in her foot. Dr. Latessa thought that she was off a little bit in her foot. We changed her shoes, went away from a flip-flop, because now we are going to be going to Scioto, I believe. It says Miami Valley. I don't think it is, though, is it? Oh, maybe. I don't think so. Anyway, wherever it is next Saturday, I think it does say Miami Valley. Wherever it is next Saturday, she should be trotting better in the shoes she is. Now, I'll train her Wednesday. Yeah, we'll train her 1.5 miles on Wednesday, and I'll have a better idea of how she feels. But as I will know, because looking at the way she trotted last week, very good, very strong, but bit that right line, and the further we went, the more she got on it, which means something was, the concussion was bothering her as it went along. A lot of the time she'd say it was a knee or that splint that I thought we saw on her. Dr. Latessa thinks it's in her foot. We changed her shoes. She should be a lot better now. I know one thing, funny thing about Swinging Senorita, when she was on the track, she'll pace for 200 yards. And when I went out to jog her the day after we put the new shoes on her, she trotted as soon as she went on the track, which for horsemen is telling sometimes. It may sound innocuous, but sometimes it is very telling. So I was very happy, at least with that for now. There's no head nod. There's no, there's nothing that would say, oh, we got to get this filly looked at. There's nothing like that. These are very, very minute things that we're just picking up on, and I think maybe we did nip it in the bud. Spitfire Overseas and Carter Michael Dio to the Bunker Hill on May 15th. I think that's where they're heading now. Obviously, this will be dependent on how Carter Michael Dio races, how Spitfire Overseas qualifies, and then potentially requalifies. But I don't think we'll take Crantini. As I said to a couple of my partners today, I think Crantini's awesome right now. Let's not rock the boat with this guy. Let's let him settle in. Let's let him get a couple of races, at least one race into him in Ontario. Send him down to Megan and Scotty. Send him down to Megan and Scotty. The hiccups. Send him down to Megan and Scotty and keep him on that course. I'm very, very happy with what I see from Crantini so far. Then all three of those horses will have the PA All-Stars on May 22nd. Now, the reason I sent Tailgate Buzz to Kentucky and Austral Hanover is in the Meadows right now. They're not going to the PA All-Stars. Tailgate Buzz and Austral Hanover want no part of Crantini and Spitfire and those horses. So the idea is just to leave. I hope Austral has a better drawing and a better performance this week, but I want to leave him at the Meadows with Tim. I'm going to get Tailgate Buzz qualified with Eric on Monday and then get him racing. He will join Tim last week of May, because on June the 3rd we'll have the first Stallion Series division is at the Meadows. More Than You Know, speaking of the Meadows, will be in the Meadows next Saturday, a week from today. Now, he's racing tonight. I suspect he'll join Tim a week from today at the Meadows and race in the Stallion Series. This will be a very pivotal point in his career. If he doesn't look like he's a contender in the Stallion Series, I'm just going to bring him back home and race him in Ontario. He's going to race for almost the same amount of money every week anyway. He can do in that class. He's very competitive in that class. If he's going to do well in the Stallion Series, fine. If he's not, then he can just rejoin the Ontario string and race here. Brace for Landing, I don't think I've changed my mind. The date is a little different. Good Times is now June 9th. I thought it was the 6th. That's when his first stake race will be. I had a lot of people say, well, Anthony, he really should go to New Jersey. No, he really shouldn't go to New Jersey, and he's not going to New Jersey. I want to, people don't realize how frail these horses can be. And if a horse like Brace for Landing loses 50 pounds, he might lose 2 seconds. And that might sound stupid to you, but trust me when I tell you, it is going to be important that we manage his weight. And I appreciate all the notes from people saying, oh, would you try Beat Pulp? And oh, would you try this? Probably almost every time, yes. And when it comes to this horse, it's not that he's not eating. He eats good. He just doesn't stay fat. Now, he has put some weight on. Amy's done a tremendous job just putting 10 or 15 pounds on him. But keeping those on him will be keeping him in surroundings he's used to. First Line Training Center, Mohawk, things of that nature. But to ship him down to New Jersey, new track, big track, lots of speed, he's going to lose weight. And I don't want to see that. So what we're going to plan to do is work diligently on his weight from now till June the 9th. Race him in the Good Times. If everything goes as well as I believe it will, again, the outline that I have for him is Good Time. I believe so. Good Times, Zweig, Beal, New Jersey Classic, Canadian Trotting Classic, and the Breeders' Crown. That is how I see him racing this year. It still gets him up around 16 to 20 starts. So there's more than enough racing for Brace for Landing, and the chore will be keep the weight on him. As I said, Amy's done a tremendous job. Let's just hope we can stay on the right track. Nothing But a Dreamer, SBOA on May the 12th. He should be ready to go for that. He looked great yesterday. They'll probably cut him loose with a mile in 56, 57, I suspect, I hope, on this coming Friday and prep him for the SBOA. And then, as I spoke about a minute ago, Tailgate Buzz and Austral Hanover will be heading to the Meadows for June the 3rd. Cutie Cumber, May 29th at Vernon Downs, is her first stake race. Little mucus the other day. She was a little wound up. As I said to Scotty, she's way better from 2 or 3 hole. So I think they're going to re-race her, change the way that they approach the race, and see how she does this week. But, man, I got a lot of respect for this filly, and I think she's going to be a really, really good horse for us. Horn Player, August 25th is the only date in my mind. August 25th. I don't care about any other time of the year other than August 25th for this particular filly. We have till then, and I want to drive her next week if I can, but I don't know if I can, but I want to make sure she's hung up properly so we know where all the hobbles go. Everything goes in this filly when she goes to Eric. Because if I can't go and Scott can drive her on the Monday or whatnot, then this is how she's hung up. This is how she needs to be hung up. This is how she needs to be driven. Away you go. I think this is going to take time. Confidence every week. Get good quality starts into her. And then hopefully the speed that I believe is in there will show up in a much more conservative and consistent form with this filly as we get through June, July, into August. But August the 25th, the Casual Breeze, is what I would love to see Hornblair show miles in 53, 54, and head back home. That's what I would like to see from her. Now, when I say head back home, she's not going to be in Kentucky till July. The meet is over in Oak Grove, I think July the 4th. So where does she go for the next 6 weeks? She can head back home early if she's putting it together a little better. We'll see. A lot will depend on the next 7-8 weeks for Hornblair. And then obviously one of our key players for this year is, aside from the big races for the aged horses, looks like money. The Graduate starts on June the 3rd in Mohawk. He looks really, really, really good. I know Harry's been just taking his time with him. He's getting closer every week. I suspect Schooler within the next, not this Friday, maybe next Friday at the very latest, and then a couple of qualifiers. But I suspect Harry will want to have him ready for the middle of May, to have him ready for the June 3rd, Graduate. So I suspect maybe even a Schooler this week and a qualifier next week. But I don't know. I haven't talked to Harry about it yet, but I know he's well aware of the timeline for Looks Like Money. So a couple of highlights here. As I said, moving forward, I apologize if I missed a horse I should have. Obviously, it's not lost to me how talented Patrick Leprane is, and I'm super excited about Yo Mister and Kings County and the Broodmares and everything that's going on right now. It's never, no week is ever perfect. You see a lot of weird stuff happening right now in horse racing. But I try to focus on what's going on right now in front of us. We have 2023, the summer, the stakes season coming up very, very quickly. Our 2-year-olds are looking good. Our 3-year-olds, if you would have said to me, Anthony, all right, let's be honest, just be fair. Well, how would you like to see Crantini, Carter Michael Dio, Spitfire, and obviously Brace for Landing qualify? I think they're there, or they're starting to exceed my expectations. Brace for Landing is way, way further ahead than even I could have hoped this time of year. Carter Michael Dio looks great. For a horse, somebody said, well, he went in 57. Well, he schooled him in 56 a week before. He's ready to go. Spitfire's just getting there now. He needs 1 or 2 more tighteners before that potential Bunker Hill start. And obviously, Crantini, I schooled him in 55 and won last week, qualified him in 56. He's ready to go. So, all systems go thus far. I'm going to bring you guys what I think of the 2-year-olds. Top 10 list. This is going to be a big top 10 list. This is what I think heading into May 1st, 2023. These are the 10 horses I think are our best 10. I guess potential winners, potential money earners, headline stealers. And I couldn't put Drebin on there because he's been poor the last 3 weeks, but he's just getting back into shape after being castrated. Yeah, like I told you, Pull the Shoes was number 1, 2, or 3 on my list. I couldn't put her in the top 10. She's just staked in Pennsylvania. I think maybe to the Breeders' Crown also, some stuff in the middle. But I love this filly. I love everything about her. And I just couldn't, it would be unfair to the 10 I put on this list to put her ahead of them. All things considered, even Winter Bells, I couldn't put her on there. There's going to be some shocks on this list. And I guess if I told you who I didn't put on it, it would lessen the blow. But top 10 list will be coming up in just a minute. I want to get through this. Then I want to grade all the 2-year-olds for you guys. All fair grades, all coming up in just a minute. Take care.